Who I believe to be the true birthers of choosing beggars, it's entitled parents. Our first one is from, I don't know why I'm here. My husband, the youngest of 5, was very close with his mother. Unfortunately, he's the only one whose children never got to meet her, as she passed away suddenly in his 20s, before having kids. When I was pregnant with my daughter 2 years ago, he said he was excited, but sad that she'd never get to meet his mom. I suggested we name our daughter after mother-in-law in some way. I liked mother-in-law's middle name and suggested we incorporate it. We decided to use it as our daughter's middle name. Our friends, my husband's family, and my extended family all thought it was a sweet gesture, but my mother was furious. Every conversation, she would rant about how unfair it was, how I slighted her, how I was favoring my mother-in-law over her, even though I never met mother-in-law. I hadn't learned to set healthy boundaries at this point, so I tried to offer a compromise. We were still in search of a first name, so we told her to send suggestions. She sent us a list, and the names were not good, like Priscilla and Blossom, and a bunch of other names that flowed horribly with my husband's surname. When I told her we wouldn't be using any of the suggestions, she lost it, saying we were disrespectful. My husband was making the baby all about him. We were ruining the experience of her first grandchild. She also said my husband had his pick twice because we were giving the baby mother-in-law's middle name and my husband's last name. I was still in my doormat phase, so I sent her a list of first names we liked and encouraged her to pick one. She refused, saying none of them were as good as her picks, and none of them were good enough for her granddaughter. In the end, my husband and I chose a first name from our list along with mother-in-law's middle name. After that, every single conversation with my mother circled back to my daughter's name. She said she was willing to compromise with us, and sent us names similar to the one we chose, but prettier. Every time I shut her down, she'd pitch a fit that I was naming my daughter after one grandmother and not the other. I was hormonal and pregnant, and I told her it was ridiculous for her to be jealous of a dead woman and that if she kept it up, she wouldn't be seeing my daughter. To this day, she still makes snide comments about it behind my back, according to my dad. We're low contact with my family now, and I've learned to set firm boundaries, which has brought a lot of peace. I thought of this story because we brought my daughter to mother-in-law's grave recently. It still annoys me, but there's enough space where I can at least laugh about it now. Hopefully you can laugh about it too. It's really sad that the OP's mom completely missed the whole gesture because I feel like if the situation was reversed, it would be her name that was being used as the daughter's middle name. So I mean, there's gotta be some kind of consideration on top of the fact that people are entitled to name their own children whatever the hell they want, even if it's a ridiculous name to others. And our final one is by Half a Meerkat. For context, I have 4 chickens who live in a cozy coop at the end of my back garden. One of them, Whiskey, has survived a fox attack, is 8 years old, and still laying eggs, and we affectionately refer to her as our guard chicken, or the snitch, because she will scream for us if any intruders, usually squirrels, enter our yard, or any of the other chickens escape. It was a nice, sunny Sunday morning, and I had my friends over for brunch when I hear Whiskey screaming, and I look out the window to see the neighbor's kid crouched down next to my chicken coop. "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm just getting my ball back," holding 2 balls. "What? Get out of my garden." "That's not very nice." "Well, it's not very nice to break into other people's gardens." At this point, he climbs back into his garden through a gap in the fence at the very back of the garden. Meanwhile, I've gone to knock on their front door to speak to their parents, assuming they must not know this was happening. "Hi, did you know your son was breaking into our garden?"
"Is it okay what you said to my son?"
"What? I'm telling him he can't break into our property."
"He's just a kid. It's okay for him to do that."
No. Legally, he can't. I don't want random kids messing about with my chickens."
"You threatened my kid. You swore at him."
"I never threatened him. I just wanted him off my property."
"It's fine for kids to do that. You know what? I don't have to listen to this."
Goes to slam the door in my face, but stops when I step forward into their doorstep, but not into their house. How would you like it if I broke into your garden?
They're kids. It's okay. You're threatening them. Call the police.
At this point, my unfortunate tendency to cry when I'm angry started to get the better of me, so I stepped back and yelled that I wanted to speak to the police. Actually, because I had done nothing wrong. Then went back to my house. I did end up calling the non-emergency line, and the operator I spoke to reassured me that they were definitely not entitled to break in. Kids are not. And even if I swore at them, I was unsure, because I do swear a lot in general without even noticing, but my friends who witnessed the whole thing assured me that I hadn't. I hadn't broken any laws. So now we have to fix the fence gap and hope that the unhinged adult man living next door, who thinks it's perfectly fine to wander onto people's yard without permission, doesn't decide to do that again himself. I'm starting to doubt that this was the first time the kids had broken in, as Whiskey had been screaming all day Saturday. Much more than she would for a squirrel or a bird. But I couldn't see anything when I checked. I think Unhinged really hits the nail on the head with that dad, on the fact that I think I'm a bit more concerned that they're also apparently demonstrating to their kids that because they're kids, the laws don't apply to them, which is actually quite false. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fear for those kids' future because of how they're being raised. I swear, the entitlement of some parents to think that their kids have access to everything, it's just insane. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled Parents. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.